Mart 1945. Germany is collapsing, but not dead yet. Americans from the west, Russians from the east. The last breaths of an empire caught between two closing fists. Some German commanders are surrendering, some are fleeing, and some dangerous commanders still believe they can win. General George Patton was approaching a small town that morning when a message from his advance unit shook the entire headquarters. The message was brief, but the information inside it violated the darkest rule of war. The Germans were officially using civilians as human shields. Elderly women were tied in front of barricades. Mothers holding babies had been positioned directly in front of machine gun nests. 10-year-old children were held in doorways, rifle barrels pressed against their backs. This was not a defense. This was a message. Touch us, and you will have killed them. Patton's staff officers laid out the alternatives. They could circle around the town and move on. They could wait. They could open negotiations through the Red Cross. Every option took time. Days, maybe weeks. Patton listened carefully to his officers. Then he stood up. Get my car ready. This channel covers the decisions that don't fit into history books. If you're here for the first time, subscribe. Because before this story is over, you're going to ask yourself, what would I have done? The town's name was Hammelburg. Population, 3,000. Strategic value, 0. American forces could have gone around it in 20 minutes. But SS Obersturmbannführer Heinrich Kuhl was not going to allow that. Kuhl was a fanatic. He didn't want to see or couldn't see that Germany had lost. With 200 SS soldiers under his command, he was trying to hold out against an American force 5 times his size. Not logic, but belief was driving him. And that belief had taken him somewhere very dangerous. When Kuhl gave his order, his soldiers went door to door. They forced out anyone who wouldn't come willingly. The elderly, women, children. They tied helpless grandmothers in front of barricades. They positioned mothers holding babies at defensive points. The commander's calculation was clear. Americans avoid harming civilians. That hesitation buys me time. That time might bring a miracle. This decision of Kuhl's was not random. The worldview they had been raised in as SS officers told them that victory justified any cost. To die was honor. To surrender was shame. And within that belief, civilian casualties were just a number, one part of the equation. Kuhl was calculating. But in that equation, there was no variable like Patton. This was an outright war crime. It violated every article of the Geneva Convention. But Kuhl had no interest in rules. When Patton's advance units reached the edge of town, they radioed in. Germans using human shields, awaiting orders. Patton read the message. He looked at the map. Then he didn't think for a single second, because he already knew what he was going to do. Negotiation is the weapon of cowards. We are not afraid. He got in his car. He took only his driver, 1 aide, and 4 military police. He moved toward the town. When he arrived at the American forward position, the company commander began to brief him on the situation. Patton cut him off. Where is the German commander? The commander pointed to the town hall. Right in the center of town, surrounded on all sides by civilians. Patton said something nobody expected. Get me a white flag. The aide tied a strip of cloth to a rifle. Patton's car slowly entered Hammelburg. German soldiers froze. Was an American general coming to surrender? The car stopped in the town square. In front of the town hall, 15 meters away. Kuhl came down the steps. SS uniform, officer's cap, pistol on his belt. He looked at Patton and laughed. He genuinely laughed. General Patton, I wasn't expecting you to come surrender in person. Patton stepped out of the vehicle. He spoke in German. Fluent, cold, unhurried. I didn't come to surrender. I came to give you one chance to release the civilians. Kuhl's smile didn't fade. Why would I do that? They are the only thing keeping you from attacking us. Patton took 3 steps forward. He moved closer to Kuhl. Do you really think hiding behind children is keeping you safe? Kuhl's smile faded this time. Just slightly. It's slowing you down. That's enough. The square fell silent. Civilians were watching. German soldiers were watching. Patton spoke. His voice didn't rise, but it reached every corner of the square. Let me tell you one thing. This is not the first time I've come face to face with a coward who uses innocent people as shields. They all have one thing in common. Every single one of them miscalculated. Kuhl tried to respond. Patton continued. I'm giving these civilians 10 minutes to leave. They'll walk to American lines. My soldiers will protect them. You are going to let them go. Kuhl spoke. If I let them go, I have no shield left. That's right, said Patton. Then we will destroy it. Every building, every position, every stone. And if you shoot them in the back as they run, that blood is on your hands. I gave them a chance to escape. You were the one who chained them to this war. Kuhl's face changed. The face of a man who has just realized his calculation has collapsed. Patton moved even closer. You made a calculation. You thought their lives were valuable to me. You were right, they are valuable. That's exactly why I'm giving them a chance to escape. But I value destroying you even more. That's what you failed to account for. Kuhl's hand moved toward his pistol. American soldiers raised their rifles. Patton didn't flinch. Go ahead and draw it. See what happens. My entire unit has surrounded you. If you shoot me, you'll be dead 10 seconds later. The town gets destroyed either way. The only difference is, you won't be alive to see it. Kuhl's hand stopped. Patton turned to the civilians. He called out in German. Anyone who wants to live, start walking now. Toward the American lines. Some of you may be shot at. But if you stay, every one of you will die. Nobody moved. Seconds passed. Then a woman moved. She scooped up her child and started running. A German soldier raised his rifle. Patton's soldier dropped him with a single shot. That was enough for them. The dam broke. Dozens of people started running. Then hundreds. German soldiers panicked. Some tried to stop them. Some lowered their weapons. They couldn't bring themselves to shoot their own families. The defensive line collapsed. Kuhl shouted. The SS does not surrender. In those 8 minutes, Hammelburg turned into the strangest scene in the world. Civilians who had been tied up were beginning to free themselves because the soldiers' attention had broken. Some German soldiers lowered their rifles from their shoulders and couldn't stop the children running past. Mothers fled with their babies. The elderly walked in stumbling steps. The town emptied out. The defensive line had not collapsed under an attack. It had collapsed under a decision. Patton stood in the square. He watched the civilians flowing out. 8 minutes had passed. He turned to Kuhl. You have 2 minutes. Surrender or be destroyed with your town. Kuhl said nothing. His eyes were open, but there was no one behind them. He stood there like the last remnant of an ideology still inhabiting a human body. The SS does not surrender, he said again. Patton nodded. The fact that you're saying that lines up exactly with your intentions. He turned back to his car, got in without a word, left the town. The moment he crossed American lines, he gave the order. Begin. 60 guns fired at once. Hammelburg was destroyed in 40 minutes. The SS soldiers who refused to surrender died inside it. Kuhl died in the basement of the town hall when a wall collapsed on top of him. The civilians had been saved. Every single one. Not a single casualty. Patton's after-action report was 3 sentences. Enemy employed illegal human shield tactics. Civilians evacuated. Town destroyed. His superiors questioned him. You could have waited. You could have negotiated. Patton answered. If we negotiate with Nazis who use human shields, every Nazi will start using human shields. I sent a message. Use civilians as weapons and you die. Not them, you. And know this. Patton's move was not purely courage. There was also strategic thinking behind it. If he had waited, if he had negotiated, Kuhl would have gained time. Or he would have set a precedent by using civilians as shields across the entire region. The same game would have been played in every town, every village that followed. The American advance would have slowed for weeks. Patton saw that, and that is why he did not negotiate. The story spread along the German front. After Hammelburg, the use of human shields dropped dramatically. Because Patton had proven something. Using civilians didn't stop the Americans. It only made them angrier. Years later, a journalist found one of the civilian women who had survived. He asked her whether she blamed Patton for the destruction of her town. The woman thought about it. I blame the man who chained us to his war, she said, not the man who gave us a chance to run. Patton never shared this exchange with the public, but he said something to his inner circle. It was one of the hardest decisions of the war, not because I regret it, because it was necessary, and that's exactly what makes it so hard. And that honesty is perhaps the most important part of this story. In the history books, heroes are usually shown without hesitation. Steady steps, certain decisions. But the truth is far more complicated. The real hero might be the man who spent that night unable to sleep, questioning his own decision, unable to know if what he did was right, but still the one who had to make that call. The difference between Kuhl and Patton was not just tactical. Both had made brutal decisions, but one of them did it against the will of the civilians. The other gave them a choice. This thin line has been the deciding factor at many moments in history. The distance between a commander protecting civilians and a commander using them as a tool is sometimes just one order, a single decision. And the man who makes that decision often carries the full weight of that moment for the rest of his life. Patton carried it too. And perhaps true heroism begins with carrying that doubt. The certain ones caused history's greatest destruction. The ones who doubted sometimes did the right thing. Human shields are a war crime. They push the attacking side into an impossible corner. Attack and kill the innocent. Or hold back and let the enemy win. Two options, two disasters. Patton refused the dilemma. He created a third option. Give the civilians a way out, then destroy the enemy. It was brutal. It was controversial. But it worked. Patton was gravely injured in a traffic accident in late 1945, just months after the victory in Europe, and died in December 1945. But some of his decisions, for all their controversy, redrew the boundaries of military ethics. Hammelburg was leveled that day, but the town was rebuilt. It still stands today. Because the civilians survived, starting over was possible. Sometimes you have to destroy something in order to rebuild it. That's not me saying that. That's the people who fled that town, survived, and then came back. Now I'm asking you, if you had been standing in that square, Kuhl in front of you, civilians all around you, attack and kill them, or hesitate and let Kuhl win, what would you have done? Write your answer in the comments. Because this question doesn't belong to war, it belongs to humanity. And these questions keep coming back to us today in different forms every single day. If you're curious about the stories that stay hidden behind history's official version but carry the real human truth, don't forget to subscribe.